Your son has such a great personality on the other side because he says to me, Matt, when did my dad get so old? He tells me. So first of all, there's a couple souls that are here that are on the other side. But first of all, when I'm connecting, there's this young man that's coming through that's trying to speak. So first of all, sir, is that soul with you?
Yes.
So please know that he's here when I'm connecting. And first of all, sir, did you also lose your father as well?
Yes.
Please know that your dad is here with your son. Because right away, they're together on the other side. I have your father, I have the son, I also have the dog that passed as well. They're all here together with one another because they keep telling me the dog is here, the dog is here. And right away, when I'm connecting, these souls are so excited to step forward and speak. And I have to tell you that your son has been sending you signs every single day. It's amazing because he keeps saying to me, tell my dad, trust in the signs, trust in the signs. And he's showing me when I'm connecting with him that first of all, he's been using signs in nature to be able to reach you and to be able to connect with you. So have you been seeing like birds and different things that remind you of your son?
Every day.
Perfect. Please know that that's your son's way of validating that he's there because he keeps saying to me, Matt, my dad just got the chills because he'll say, I think that that's him. But sometimes he tells me that you question it because you're not sure if you're really seeing it or if it's just that you're trying to believe it.
Yes.
Your son is making me laugh because he's going to me, Matt, how else can I show my dad? He's like, I send him so many different ways that I'm there. He's like, how else will he not believe I'm there? I'm there. And he keeps bringing that through. And by the way, I got to tell you something. Your son has such a great personality on the other side when I'm speaking to him because he says to me, Matt, he goes, since when did my dad get so old? He tells me. And I'm like, what do you mean by that? And he goes, Matt, you don't understand. From when I was younger, my dad always loved a project, he said. My dad was always had to work on something, be doing something, tackling something. He goes, he was always up early in the morning. He was always up out of bed. He goes, and now I see my dad sleeping in. I see him sitting on the couch, taking naps. He goes, my father turned into an old man. Can you tell him I want my old dad back? This is your son's way of acknowledging that he can see into your life. Right? And he can see what's going on right now. But he was still young when he had passed away here in the physical world. Yeah. And was he just celebrating the birthday? Because I keep hearing about the birthday.
He passed June 20th, 2014.
That would be why. So he just had celebrated his birthday when he had passed away.
Yeah.
Yes.
So not even a month later.
Right.
So please know it's his way of acknowledging that because he's bringing this through when I'm speaking to him. Because he said to me, I want my dad to remember that last birthday. He's bringing that through when I'm connecting with him. Wow. He's also telling me when I'm connecting with him that first of all, he passed tragically here in the physical world when I'm speaking to him. He says, and Matt, this is what my dad is so upset about because you did not get to say goodbye to your son here in this world. And he is also sorry for the way that he was found here in the physical world when I'm connecting with him. Because he talks about someone discovering him or finding him. Is that true?
It was a tragic construction accident.
Okay. And is that when they had found his body or found him?
Yes.
Okay. So please know that when I'm connecting, he says to me, because when he whispers in my ear that there was no way that they could revive him or bring him back here in this world, it means that because he keeps talking about an impact. I feel like he passed on impact here in the physical world. So I don't know how exactly he died, but I know that whatever had happened, there was an impact that had happened to him that caused his passing. Because he says to me, Matt, there was no chance at me being able to survive this. And there was no chance that anyone would have been able to save me. And that's what he needs you to know. What he tells me is that he did not feel any pain when he had passed away. He didn't even know that it happened. So that's what he tells me. Because he does not want you for 1 minute to think that he was in pain, that he was suffering. He says, I was going just like this, Matt. That's what he shows me. Awesome. And what was so tough was this. He tells me that it was really hard for you after your son's passing because you had just talked to him not too long ago. He talks about, I feel like there was a phone call. You were just talking to him. And then next thing you know, you found out about his passing. You're like, how did this even happen? How did this even make sense? Your son says to me, Matt, please tell my dad and tell my family that what I need them to know is that nothing was left unsaid. He left this world knowing how much that you all loved him, cared about him. He says, and Matt, if there's one thing that everybody had always said growing up is that I always had the best family. Because he tells me that his mom, his dad, his family was the family that everybody wanted. He tells me that growing up as a kid, everybody was at your house all the time. All the kids were at your house. You would always have the party. She says to me, and even after his passing, he shows me all of his old friends, like reaching out to you, connecting with you, contacting you. And he says to me, Matt, do you know that my father has more of a connection with my friends now than I even did here in this world? Is that true?
Every year we would celebrate his passing together, his friends and us.
That's what it is. That's the special bond that your son's talking about. Not many people have that, but you had that, not just because of the way that these people loved your son, but it's also because they loved you as a family. You got to understand that. And that's one of the things that makes your son so happy on the other side, is to see the love that everybody had for all of you, not just for him. Because he says to me, Matt, my parents were the best. My parents were the best. He needs you to know this. And what your son says to me is, Matt, please tell my dad that even though that this is so hard, I see the things that he's done in memory for me. And this is really interesting. Did you also make like either a bench in memory of your son or a sitting area in memory of your son?
A building.
A building?
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect. And is there a place where people go and sit? Like, is there like a
Yes.
bench there or a place there to sit?
Yes.
Perfect. Because you know your son sits in that spot, he keeps telling me.
Oh, wow.
I knew he'd be with you.
So know that when you built a whole building in memory of your son, he keeps saying to me, tell my dad I sit there, tell my dad I sit there. That's pretty cool. He also tells me there was a plaque or some type of a thing that was engraved. Is that true?
Yes.
Know that your son wants to thank you so much for that. He says, Matt, please tell my dad that this is something that I see from the other side. And if there's one thing that I want my dad to know, is that I lived my life to the fullest here in this world. I lived every single moment. He says, I wasn't afraid of death. I wasn't afraid of dying. He says, I never even thought about it. I didn't even think it was possible for me to die so young. He says, but what I did care about was living my best life here in this world. He says, and because of that, he says, when he left this world, even though he passed so tragically, he tells me that he did not have any regrets, and he needs you to know this.
Oh, awesome.
And because of that, he doesn't want you to have any regrets either. He says, Matt, he goes, you don't understand. The one thing, he thinks this is so cool. I can't stop saying that, because he says to me, Matt, my dad was always business here in this world, he tells me. And he says to me that now that I see my dad and you have the spiritual mindset, you've been researching about the other side and trying to understand about the other side. He says to me that that's something so beautiful, because your son tells me that because you do that, he's been able to connect with you in a totally different way. So trust in all the signs that you're getting, trust in all the things that you're feeling, and know that that's your son's way of telling you that he is truly there and with you.
Thank you.
I want to thank you guys so much for being here and being a part of this.